Hi all, here we are ready to go with part 5 of the do-it-yourself Android tablet car stereo. We're going to be talking about cameras, backup cameras today. Excuse me. I really didn't realize how many options we were going to have, how difficult it would be to get some working, but I've pretty much done the research now and I can go over everything with you. Now, the first method we're going to use is using a video capture device. This is called the Easy Capture. You can find them, you know, with no name on them at all, like this one. I think this one was $8 on Amazon. They all pretty much use one of 3 chips inside, and all you do is plug this in to your USB hub. The software you use comes right up, and the software is called USB Camera. Let me get you, this is the software right here. You see the picture of it, so just look for that when you're on the Play Store, USB Camera. Now there is a pro version I haven't bought yet that I will buy. That software worked the easiest of anything that I tried and gave you the widest range of features and things to do. Now, that being said, we open it up. It has found this module. Now, this will allow you to use any backup camera that you find that's got a normal video output, a composite video output, which is one of these yellow outputs that you used to see on VCRs and everything else. They come with a yellow for video, and these cameras are plentiful on eBay. All the way down to, you can get them from China for $3, all the way up to, you know, you can pay $100 for one. This particular one that we're going to use right now, this one right here, okay. In fact, I'll hook it up just so you can see it. The picture quality is I would consider subpar. When you use one of these backup cameras that you can get off eBay or Amazon that are cheap, I'm not saying that they're bad by any means. And the reason I say that is because when you have a car stereo head unit that already has a composite input where you can just plug this yellow cable into, they'll do a decent job. They look okay. They're nothing to write home about, but they will work. Now, if this is the route that you decide you want to go, I just have a couple of tips for you. One, when you're selecting your camera on eBay, these cheap ones, there's not much difference between a $5 one and a $20 one. The main problem we've got is that most of these companies lie, and that is what's going to cause you your problems. They lie about resolution, they lie about, you know, low light capability. They just pretty much lie. Now, I've hooked up the power and ground on this one, and you can see it came up. This particular one here, the video quality, I don't know if you can see it, it's not that great. Okay, that's because it's going through that Easy Capture device. If this was plugged into a, you know, regular car stereo that has the composite connector, the video would be better. But you're limited to the resolution of this device. Now, in fact, let me get another one and I'll show you. This is a really popular one that's on eBay that I bought for $1.99 from China. Okay, and uses the same connector as the one that we're using now. I just wanted to show you the... is it going to make a liar out of me? Do I have to open up and get a different connector? It's got a different power connector. They seem to use 2 to 3 different ones. Now, this one would give you pretty much the same picture quality as the first one we did, only the backup lines are red, green, and yellow. But what I want to say about this is this allows you to use any backup camera you want that's got a composite connector. Now, the bad part is picture quality. I consider it subpar to bad. Like I said, if you have a dedicated head unit that accepts composite, your picture will be a little bit better. If you do want to go this method, couple things when you're looking for your cameras online. In these cheaper cameras, they basically come with two sensors, CMOS and CCD. CMOS is lower quality than the CCD I have found, so try and get your backup camera with a CCD sensor. Second is try and find one with the highest resolution you can find. Although they most always lie, at least sometimes you'll get better resolution than the lowest. So that's your first option, which I would consider unacceptable. So now we're going to move on to the next camera. Now the next camera I got for $15 or $20 on eBay, and it's a Wi-Fi camera. Now this next camera, let's put all this stuff over here so I don't lose it all. Okay, so the next camera I got is a Wi-Fi camera. I think it was, like I said, $15 or $20. Okay, here is the way that this one works. We're going to get out of the software we're in now. And go back up here. MRT camera. MRT camera is what I used for the Wi-Fi camera, and it worked very well. The software did. The picture quality, I would say, is very similar to the CCD, maybe a little bit better. I wouldn't say a lot better. It was a little better. Let me get this one hooked up here. But the main drawback to using the Wi-Fi camera is that you have to connect it to the Wi-Fi on the tablet. And if you do that, that means that you can't be connected to any other Wi-Fi. While you're out in the woods, on the trails, that's fine, but I also use my Wolverine at home to do work on the property. And I would like to be able to have the Wi-Fi working on the tablet for internet so that while I'm home, apps can update, just a variety of reasons. So this unit here has an antenna on it. And you basically go in your tablet. Let's see if it can find it yet. Okay. We are currently, here we go, MRT Wi-Fi camera. Alright, so we're changing to that. It's connecting. Again, very simple. It hooked up pretty, pretty easily. So now, if we go back to the camera, there it is. Now, you'll see that this one gives much better picture quality than the CCD, extremely better quality than the CMOS. This is probably what the CCD backup camera would look like in a dedicated head unit without going through that video capture device. So that quality is acceptable. And like I said, these are 15 or 20 bucks. And then you'll have a backup camera that pretty much as soon as the power is taken away, shuts off. As soon as the power goes on, it'll automatically connect itself up once you're connected. So this isn't bad. But like I said, if you want to use Wi-Fi and the camera at the same time, that's a no-go. So now we'll move on to the next one. I was going to try a webcam, but it's not waterproof, so I kind of said, nah, we'll forget that. And then I thought about these little action cameras that you can buy. And I had one sitting around. This is a Vivitar DVR 794 HD. Now the downfall to this camera was when Vivitar came out with them, the camera part worked great. The batteries, the lithium batteries in them were horrible, and they weren't available. And you couldn't substitute anything else for it. It had a battery like no other, which was the downfall, I believe, to this camera. So this has been sitting in a box, and I have the waterproof housing and all. It's been sitting in a box, and I said, you know what? I know I can connect this up through USB power, so let me see how it works as a camera. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shut down the Wi-Fi rear view camera software, which if you wanted it was MRT-camera. We're going to go back to that first USB software. Now this one here, after playing around with this camera in a variety of different ways, I found out how you can really cool make it into a webcam. Okay, now there was a rubber cover over all the connections here. You just flip it out of the way and then you've got all your connections. But I figured if I'm going to be using this for a backup camera, I want to keep all those weatherproof and sealed, so I just cut the rubber out where the USB was. I did this after I figured out how it all worked. You plug your USB cable in, and now we're going to plug this into our USB hub, and the camera's going to boot, and with no battery in it and no memory card in it, it automatically loads up as a PC camera. Automatically. Didn't have to do anything. Surprised me. But better picture quality than the Wi-Fi camera. So this became my preferred method so far. It's a 1080p action camera. The picture quality is great. It's got 170 degree view, which is great. It powers right back up into this mode every time you turn it off and on. The USB camera software finds it immediately each time. And again, you see a little ad here because I haven't bought the Pro version yet. This software is really good. I will buy the Pro version of this. So this became default. What I said, oh my God, I'll do this. Not only did I already have the camera and it didn't cost me anything, but I wanted to see, how it would go. Now, I have looked up action cameras. Action cameras you can get for as little as $15 all the way up to, GoPros are hundreds. You don't need a GoPro. All you need is a basic camera, but what you want to look for is, you want to look for one that says it's webcam compatible. And then you want to ask the question to the vendor, will this automatically boot up into webcam mode each time it's powered up? Because some of them, a menu pops up. What do you want to do? Do you want to use it as a PC camera? Do you want to shoot video? And then you have to make that selection first. This one, in the absence of an SD card, in the absence of a battery, will automatically go to PC camera. This is an old model, this Vivitar. Because there's such battery problems, I figured, you know what, maybe I want a front camera, a back camera. So I went on to eBay and I found one for $10, brand new. Because these things, you can't get batteries for them. I also saw used ones, $5, $10. So this particular model that I mentioned, the Vivitar DVR 794 HD, definitely right now is the camera I'm going to go with. It needs a few modifications to do what I want to do, because once you put the camera into the waterproof case, the USB port is going to be under this. So I'm going to have to Dremel out a small hole that more or less is as close to the size of the plug as I can, and then plug it in, and then I'll have to put a little bit of silicone around it. Now, I'm going to buy some angled heads so that they either go, down this way, or the cable will go to the back instead of just sticking out. But that's a modification I will need to do in order to use this as a backup camera. But right now, #1 contender. So now, we're going to go to the next one. Okay, the next camera, oh, here's my ad, since I don't have the Pro version. Let's get out of here. Okay, my next camera is a new action camera that I purchased. I'm on the fence about it. I'll explain to you what I got here. Now this one is a Crosstour. This is a 4K camera. As you can see, I have the angled HDMI. It's a micro HDMI to standard HDMI cable. This one, right out of the box, it will not do webcam, but they say it does webcam. So you contact Crosstour and then they say, okay, in order to do it, we're going to give you a link to some software, download it, and then you can use it as a webcam. So I downloaded the new firmware. I swapped the firmware and the camera. It was really easy. You load it on the micro SD card, put the micro SD card in, boot the camera. It'll stay blank with a light on for 3 or 4 minutes. Light goes out. Pull out the SD card. You know, start it back up, and it starts up, but it doesn't look like it functions as a regular action cam anymore. The menus are reversed and upside down and hard to read. Now, by plugging a USB cable into it, it will have that menu I told you about that comes up. What do you want to use it as? And you have to pick PC camera. And it does that every time it's powered up. So that kind of defeats the purpose of what I want to do, because I don't want to have to go to this camera every time I start the Wolverine up and have to press a button in order for it to start working. So as far as using it with USB, not going to work. Now, this camera also has an HDMI output on it. So I figured, let me give that a shot. Now, in order to do this, because remember, no battery, no memory card is what lets these things boot up. Okay, so there's your angled micro HDMI to regular HDMI, and then above it is the USB, but they put them so close together that none of my USBs would fit. So I picked the skinniest one I had, and then I just ground this down. You can see this side's wide, that side's flattened out. I kept looking at it. I want to make sure I didn't go into any circuit board or connectors, and I was able to grind off enough that then I could plug the USB in next to the HDMI cable. Now I'm also going to get an angled one of those. See how it goes to the back? I'm going to get them to go down, up, and when I get all done with this, we'll see which way works best. But now that we have the camera with the USB and the HDMI cable into it, okay, we're going to go, I just have a very small HDMI cable here to do the test. So we plug our HDMI cable into it. Now the other end of the HDMI cable is going to go into this video capture. This is an HDMI video capture compared to that first one we used. So now we plug this one in, and we're going to plug it in to our USB hub, and then almost right away you see the color bars come up. It found the video capture device. Now this one, since I told you that we want to be able to power it up and get a signal right away, we're just going to plug this into USB power now, not to the hub. We're going to plug it into USB power, and then it loads up pretty quick. Okay, so you hear the camera started, and then it takes a few seconds, and here we go. Now I haven't done any of the adjustments yet on this one to get rid of the microphone and the readouts and the everything, so that it's just a picture. But that's a 4K picture. Beautiful picture quality. That would be what I would want the picture quality to be. Downside? Downside is you have to run 2 sets of wires. You're going to have to run the USB cable in order to power the device. And then you're going to have to run the HDMI cable to go into the video capture. But by far, that has the best picture quality of them all. Now, this is the Crosstour CT9000 camera. I am going to change the firmware back to the original firmware and see if it works in the same way with the original firmware, because then it's your normal action camera and it does this, which is really what I'd want. Since the USB PC camera function, you constantly have to tell it, yes, I want to do that every time it boots up. Now this one, you can see if I drop the power, it still sees the video capture card and gives you the color bars. And then when I plug it back in, it does take a few seconds for it to start up, and you'll hear it. Again, it'll make that sound right there. A couple seconds later, you should see a picture. Okay, so best picture quality by far. The old 1080p action camera, easiest by far, one cable, boots up automatically into it. The Wi-Fi version, very simple to install, has the backup lines on it. Now, as far as the backup lines, I was doing some reading online. A couple people mentioned that there is backup camera software that will add the lines for you. I haven't tried any of it yet. I don't know, maybe I want it, maybe I don't want it. But your Wi-Fi camera, again, very easy install, very small, easy to mount, but you can't use the Wi-Fi if you're around your house or any place that has Wi-Fi. So that to me was a deal breaker, but good. I'll still give you the link to this camera, as well as I'll give you the link to the Vivitar 794, which you can still buy. It's just that, you know, since it's discontinued, the people that have them are trying to get big money for them, unless you go on eBay and find a used one, or you find a closeout one like I did. And the Crosstour CT9000, this 4K camera, normal price is $49.99. I happened to get it during one of Amazon's deals, and there was also a $13 coupon that you clicked the button and it gave you another $13 off. So I got the camera for $25, which that 4K camera is a steal at $25 for what we want to do with it if you go with the 4K, not if you want to use it as a webcam. So that pretty much sums up the different ways you can hook up a backup camera to this, and that'll be it for this one. And the next time I come back, we're going to talk about cases and mounting inside the Wolverine. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, you can just put them in the comments. I might try some other software and update you on that later, but this video software seems to be the best. And you can make it go full screen, and once I buy the Pro version, it'll have no ads, so you'll just have your backup camera. And it does come on when it senses it, which, although, actually there's one more thing. When you put your car in reverse, or you put your side-by-side in reverse, you could hook up a wire to give it power based upon it going into reverse. But since there's a delay in the camera booting, I wouldn't suggest that. Otherwise, you're going to sit there and wait for the whole thing to load up. Now, you can do it, but I'd prefer to have it this way. This way, at any time I want, I can look at my backup camera and look behind me, you know, whether I'm just carrying something or I'm towing something and I just want to watch it while I tow it. There could be a lot of reasons you want to be able to turn the camera on while you're driving. So I would still go with leaving the camera powered up all the time so it's ready to go the minute you load the software. So that's it. Again, we're ending. I'll see you soon with part 6 on the cases and mounting techniques, and see you then.